I always wanted to meet people who were for the war, to ask them, why are you for the war? Everyone I meet in New York, they would say, we marched against the war. It was just so wrong. Everyone was against it. It didn't make sense to me. It's like, so how did it happen? Why did it happen? But they would say, it wasn't us who backed this war. It wasn't us who wanted it to happen. It's the people down south in the Midwest. If you go there, you'll find the answer.
Were you nervous?
I don't think I was, because I didn't give it much thought. I didn't have much expectations. Like, I know where I came from now, today. If you go back to Iraq and you piss someone off, the worst thing that they chop their head off, basically. I know that can't happen here.
Right.
I think. Actually, in the beginning, I wasn't thinking of traveling with cameras or anything. I was just thinking of traveling alone, just meeting people the way I meet them in New York. But then I found out that you guys are interested in coming along. And I was actually worried in how I'm going to approach people. So I was actually glad when the idea of the booth came up. Because I'll be sitting behind the booth, and people will be walking past, they read it, they know what it's about. And before we got to any town or city, we would contact the local media there.
Now, it's my understanding you decided to take a road trip.
Where in the world did this idea come from?
Before the war in Iraq, I worked with the information ministry under Saddam's regime. And we heard so much about Saddam's point of view of the war and the Americans and what's so not. And it worked. It attracted a lot of people asking me, like, all different kind of questions.
Talk to an Iraqi today. Hey, I'm an American. Are there any fat people in Iraq?
Yes. Did you have a tough life growing up?
Not really, no. I had a much tougher life in the last 4 years.
How do you and the Iraqi people feel about our troops being there? Do they feel like we're occupiers?
What do you think of all the different positions that you see females in this country doing?
What do you think would happen if all the American troops pulled out?
The whole country of Iraq, is it really upbeat about now?
No, not a single person feels good about it.
My husband's in Iraq right now.
And is this his first time to go serve in Iraq?
No, this is his 4th time in 5 years.
It's his 4th time?
Yes.
Are there, for recreation, are there water parks and things like that?
So what do you think should happen?
I don't know at this point, you know. I just... I don't know.
So, let me borrow your glasses.
You want what?
Let me borrow your glasses.
You want to borrow my glasses?
Please. Yes, of course. I want you to make sure you're telling the truth always. Let me ask you a question, man.
Go ahead.
Are you really Iraqi?
Mm-hmm.
He's a Marine. I'm in the Army. Hey, Marine, I'm in the Army.
Uh-huh.
I've been there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you been to Iraq as well?
No, I'm going in September. But
Do you know where in Iraq you're going to be located?
yeah, Al-Assad. I'm looking forward to going.
Are you?
Why are you looking forward to go?
I'm gonna agree with him. Why?
Hey, you know, we're over there. Hey, I like to have a chance to participate in it myself.
What the fuck are you participating in, bro? He is not our enemy.
Oh, I know he's not all right. I mean,
No, I'm talking about him. When I say him, I'm talking about the people.
no,
That's not our enemy, dude. No.
It's the terror.
I have fucking been there, dude. I have fucking done it. I've seen it.
Some people can interpret Islam with hate,
Yeah.
man. And you know what they call us? The infidel.
Why?
Because
Why?
that's the way they think. That's the way
No.
they've been brought up.
You're wrong. Look at me, dude. I have been there. I know. I have come into your fucking country.
Mm-hmm.
I have taken it over. Would
Well,
you
not-
like me?
No.
Fuck no.
A lot of people came up, and then instead of asking you,
They were telling me.
they were telling you, yeah.
Yeah, I was surprised by that too.
The Sunnis and the Shiites really realize they do need us. They do like what we're doing.
People were telling me about how life was under Saddam.
Back there when Saddam was there, he had slaughtered over 1 million people.
And that number is based on... They were telling me what's good for the Iraqi people. They were telling me what the Iraqi people want.
There were still killings going on before we ever got there. It took a curfew to be safe because a lot of times people won't do for themselves what's right. It's like your mom and dad when you're little. You got to go to bed at 8 o'clock or you have to be in by... We rebel against authority.
You're picturing here the Iraqis to be the babies and America to be the parents.
When the soldiers come into the lot and they tell me they've been to Iraq, I say, well, tell me the real story, what's going on. And they talk about the good, and then there are a lot of the Iraqi people that come up to them and thank them for being there. When you believe in something, when you believe in freedom for another person, you would die for it. That's what these guys are doing. They're dying so you can have freedom, so your people can have freedom.
What is freedom?
Is being able to walk outside and say something, not be fearful of reprisal.
But now you can't even walk outside in the first place. Because you're gonna get killed, and because there's a curfew, and because you don't have electricity at home, because you're worried how you're gonna send your kids to school. You can be in a traffic light and a car bomb goes off next to you. You can be driving and a military convoy shows out of nowhere and opens fire. That's what me as an Iraqi and what my family and all Iraqis I know think. They used to think they used to live in hell, and now they say, you know what, that was heaven in fact, and this is hell.
But you weren't free.
I had personally relatives who were killed by Saddam. I know life was not good. I never claimed that he was a good person. But that's where their thinking just stops. They can't go beyond this point. Like, Saddam was bad. Okay, agreed. But the difference is they won't go and say, okay, how is it now, and compare the two. I mean, there is bad and there is worse.